Hello and welcome everybody to a new educational video. This time we're going to be talking about open high low close and open low high close, which is the anatomy of a candle. So over here we've got a nice depiction of a candlestick, right? And as short-term traders, our focus is on the weekly and the daily candle. There are almost always three trade opportunities in one candle. We got the low of the candle over here, we've got the high of the candle, and then the entire expansion which is within this candle. That's the third trade opportunity. Now our goal is to master one of those three opportunities first, and once you have mastered them, you can look to master the next one until you have mastered all three of the entire formation of the weekly or daily candle. Now you cannot master two or three at one, then pick one and master it before you go to the next. Right, so we've got a monthly chart of GBP CHF over here. As always, you need to start off with your premium and discount levels, right? The mechanical approach we do every time before we start analyzing from top down. So over here we've got our discount and our premium, right? Where is this candle coming from and where is it most likely to draw to? Over here we've got a premium fair value gap, right? So now we have something which we can work with. What is the draw on liquidity? We are still in discount and price is drawing near a premium fair value gap in premium. So that is our draw on liquidity. What is important next? First and foremost, we will need SMT as well, right? So we know smart money has their hand in the market and it makes for a higher probability continuation. And we go to the Euro CHF monthly chart, same thing, right? We hit a key level over here with SMT on the lows, and we had that SMT prior as well. So this one is also more likely to expand up higher based on these concepts over here. Now we have the GBP CHF weekly chart, right? Remember we had the SMT and we're drawing towards that premium monthly fair value gap, right? So we have a draw on liquidity, we have confirmation by SMT, and now we're going to focus on this weekly candle over here. Right, so we've got the weekly candle diagram over here. Might be a lot to take in, but we're gonna walk you through everything that is on the screen over here. So we're gonna be talking about a classic buy week. And in this classic buy week, there are three trade opportunities within that one open, low, high, close candle, right? We've got the manipulation lower, that is an opportunity. Then once it is in expansion, there will be a retracement. That is another opportunity which you can focus on. And then the third one is capping the range, which will be a sort of a TGIF, right? Return back into the range of the weekly. So there's another trade opportunity over here. Now, because we are using a weekly candle, we can use Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday as our time perspective. Same thing with a daily candle, right? You have the Asia session, London session, New York session, etc. You can do the same for a weekly candle. So draw on liquidity for the week was that higher time frame premium array, right? That monthly fair value gap. And if you follow this schematic over here, we want to manipulate early in the week, right? To get that first trade opportunity. Now you want that manipulation to happen into a higher time frame discount array, which could be a previous weekly low or a key level like a order block or a fair value gap or a breaker. Now when that expansion happens, right, there is a retracement coming as well. There will be a key level where price goes back and retraces into. That key level could be a fair value gap, an order block, or a breaker, like we explained earlier over here, right? And using the weekly opening price as well, you can use that one to see if the manipulation lower has happened already, and then that expansion that happens above that weekly and that expansion that happens above that weekly opening price, we can expect a retracement lower in that price leg. So that is another opportunity. This tends to happen on either Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday in this classic buy week candle, right? And then at the end of the week, it's more likely to be a capping the range or retracement back lower to return back into the weekly range. So over here we got the GBP CHF weekly chart. You can see this candle is the open, low, and then a high and then a close, right? So this is the power of 3 of this candle over here on the weekly chart. And we're going to be focusing on all opportunities that lie within this weekly candle. First of all, we've got an example, right, of the call out we did, and this was done before the markets were open, right, on a Sunday, and we were looking for that daily fair value gap to get hit and then an expansion higher. And we focused on GBP CHF the entire week, right? So after we hit that daily fair value gap as well, I started to tape read, right, where we should find opportunities. And this is just proof of concept before it happens without hindsight. Now let's go to the daily chart, right, on GBP CHF. The call out was this fair value gap here, right? So we want to see price dip into that fair value gap. Again, we want to use SMT, right? And then an expansion higher is more probable. So once we hit that key level, now we're going to look at that weekly candles open, low, high, close, right? The weekly candle opened up over here. Monday dipped straight into that key level, right? Creating the low. And then an expansion phase happens. And at the end of the week, we reached a premium fair value gap, right? And then it caps the range. Right, so that weekly candle for GBP CHF, 3 trade opportunities. The first one below the weekly opening candle, right? Like I just showed you, once it hits that daily fair value gap with SMT, that is that first trade opportunity. The next one is in the expansion of this weekly candle, right? The fair value gap retracement, that is another opportunity. And then high at the premium array, that is the third trade opportunity, which is a capping the range of the weekly candle and then a slight retracement lower. So let's zoom into the trade below the opening price, and that is trade number 1 in the low. Right, so we got a GBP CHF 4-hour chart over here, and I want you to look at this chart and think about the previous educationals as well, right? Think about the market cycles, what we need to do before we can determine a high probable smart money reversal, etc. But over here we've got that daily fair value gap. So this is the key level, right? Weekly opening price over here. So what do we want to see with a classic buy week? We want to see manipulation lower into a key level, right? So this is that manipulation phase, and that is trade opportunity number 1. We're going to focus on the other opportunities here as well. This is the second opportunity, and the last opportunity is up here. So let's focus in and go to the 1-hour chart on GBP CHF. So now we can actually have a clear picture of what we want to look for, right? Now, this vertical line over here is the weekly candle opening, right? So this weekly candle starts at 5 p.m. on a Sunday, right? So don't get this mistaken with New York midnight opening. This is the weekly candle opening, and we can see it manipulates lower, also taking out those sell stops down here into a key level. Now, there are 3 trade opportunities, right? Number 1 over here, and then in the expansion, another one, and then the third one is on the highs over here. So when we use manipulation, we want to be manipulating below the New York midnight opening price, right, which starts over here, and then it dips down into a key level, and then the rest of the day should be an expansion. So just like a classic buy week on that weekly candle, we can also have a classic buy day on a daily candle. So let's break down the daily candle diagram, right? We just went over that weekly candle on GBP CHF, and now we're going to go over that daily candle on GBP CHF, which is a classic buy day. So same thing as the weekly candle, there are still 3 trade ideas within one open, low, high, close candle, right? And like I said earlier, we had the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, etc. on the weekly candle. Now we can use these sessions over here, right? We have Asia session, London session, New York, and then also London close. These are all kill zones from ICT, right? Now, if we're focusing on that classic buy day, we want to see a manipulation first, right? That tends to happen in London session. We want to see an accumulation phase in Asia, right? And then London manipulating into a key level and then an expansion higher. This tends to happen below midnight opening price, right? And then on this schematic, we can actually see Asia session already made a low over here, right? So once we break above, we already rated the low of the accumulation. So we can expect London session to retrace back into discount as well, but not take out Asia low. So sometimes you can see Asia session consolidate without taking a low, within that Asia session itself, and then London session will rate the previous session low, right? That is Asia session, and then we'll have an expansion. All this can vary with different types of pairs, right? We have USD FX pairs, we have Asian FX pairs, and index futures, the timing will be a little bit different. right? So now we got that GBP CHF 15-minute chart, and this is on a Monday, right? So the buys we got on a Monday was a classic buy day. Now, why was it a classic buy day? We had an accumulation phase over here, right? And then we have New York midnight opening. So a classic buy day is always a manipulation during London session, creating a low of the day, and then an expansion higher for the rest of the day, right? So we had this nice accumulation, sell stops resting below those lows. New York midnight opening over here, London session, trades lower, and this is the manipulation phase, right? So this is trade opportunity number 1. You don't have to get into the smart money reversal. But that would be the best entry, so that's a trade opportunity number 1, right? You can also get in on the expansion phase, which is trade opportunity number 2. That is the retracement that happens within that expansion. So over here you can see that as well. We had this low to this high, so you have your discount and your premium level over here. And once price retraces back into discount, you can buy for another expansion up higher. And then the second trade idea is up here, which is a retracement back into the weekly or daily range, right? And we're talking about a daily candle over here. Now another proof of concept before it happened, right? We always show this, so it's not hindsight. So we're looking for buys in that key level. First of all, we had an, if I remember correctly from my top of my mind, this was a 4-hour inverse fair value gap. So we tape read it and see if we can move higher from there. But eventually it went all the way down into the 1-hour fair value gap. So there was no opportunity in this area here. But once we hit that 1-hour fair value gap, I was very confident after we started to form that change in the state of delivery that the next day would also be an expansion up higher. So let's talk about trade opportunity number 2, right? The retracement. So over here we had that trade opportunity number 1 in that key level, manipulation on the weekly open. And then the second one is in the expansion phase of that weekly candle, trading higher towards that premium fair value gap. Now let's zoom in. Over here we've got a 15-minute chart on GBP CHF, and now we're focusing on that trade opportunity number 2, right? So trade opportunity number 2, we have a we have a clear draw on liquidity over here on these highs, right? New York midnight opening, price manipulates down lower into a key level, which is that fair value gap. SMT formed on the low, and now we have a strong low formed over here, and we're disrespecting an up close candle here. So now we can use this range to frame another trade setups all the way back up into these buy stops, right? So this is trade opportunity number 2 within that expansion phase. Now let's talk about the third one, right? We already hit the weekly premium target, so what is most likely to happen? Price might retrace back lower into the weekly candles range. Personally, I'm not trading opportunity number 3 most of the time. I love to be in trade opportunity 1 and 2, right? The expansion, the manipulation. But this is also an opportunity at the end of the week. So we had SMT on the highs with Euro CHF, right? So we can expect these highs to stay intact. There are sell stops below down here and a fair value gap as well, which could be the draw on liquidity. Now if we zoom in a little bit more on the 5-minute time frame, right? Remember SMT on the highs, creating a high probability smart money reversal over here. Sell stops below, and actually broke structure but never came back into the fair value gap. So this would be a missed trade opportunity. Now, what I want you guys to do, and this is your homework, I want you to use these teachings for the DXY chart this past week, which is the week of 8th of July 2024, and see if you can find the same signatures in that bearish weekly candle, which is the open, high, low, close. And we will be building up deeper also into this concept on the next video, as it is the foundation to the weekly profiles, one shot, one kill, and day trading.